Everest Base Camp trek is one of the most popular treks in the world because of its altitude and sheer beauty, but it would be remiss to ignore its popularity simply from its name. In this video, I'm going to talk about sustainability around the EBC trek and actionable items you can take when hiking in this region. If you're new here, hi, my name is Rocky and I'm a flight attendant for a major US airline. I'm a military spouse and I live in Okinawa, Japan. I love to travel and I have a passion for sustainability, so I'm excited to share more with you about ways you can make your travels more ethical and sustainable. If any of that interests you, consider subscribing to stay updated for future videos. Okay, so one of the most surprising aspects of the trek for me was the Sagarmatha Next Museum, which finished construction in May of 2021. It focuses on educating visitors about sustainability and culture in the Khumbu Valley region. But before we dive into that, let's go over a brief history of waste in this region. An estimate of 40,000 people visit Everest Base Camp each year, and that comes with an insurmountable amount of waste. On Everest itself, there's an estimated 12,000 pounds of trash. In 1991, the Sagarmatha Pollution Control Committee, or SPCC, was established in order to combat the growing waste problem with the increase in tourism. Now, along the hike, we did personally see many of the 100 trash bins that the SPCC have built for trekkers. I do think these are good, but I'd imagine, especially in peak times, they overfill quickly with the sheer number of people passing through on a daily basis. There simply isn't enough manpower to keep up with the waste management, nor are robust systems in place to deal with it all. If you're unfamiliar with this region, there are no roads, cars, or trains to get up the mountain. Everything is carried mainly by people or animals and sometimes aircraft. In 2014, Nepal made it compulsory for Everest climbers to bring down at least 8 kilograms of trash, the estimated amount produced per person. I've read that there's a cleaning fee attached to their permit price, but that doesn't seem to be doing the job either. Now, do climbers actually do this? Is it enforced? I'm curious, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from someone firsthand. Fast forward to 2017. The Himalayan Museum and Sustainable Park, the HMSP, began construction on Sagarmatha Next to promote waste management and education in an interactive and inspiring way. It was initially meant to open in fall of 2019, but it was delayed to the global pandemic. It's located just up the hill from Namche Bazaar. We went up to check it out on our acclimatization hike in Namche. We're going to Sagarmatha Next, which is a museum that was actually created after COVID, and it's all about how waste is taken down the mountain sustainably, and they actually create art out of some of the waste, which is really cool. I'm assuming this is the first art exhibit here. Well, let's go check it out. Since 1990, they have taken the effort to collect the waste in a more manageable way, but just with the increase in tourism, it's been really difficult to do that. They have created little souvenirs that you can buy made out of the plastic bottle caps, because plastic bottle caps to the water cannot be recycled at all.
This is the product that we came up with, the bottle caps. And this is the actual process of how we make it. So we collect the bottle caps here in this region, and then since our production house is in Kathmandu, we take it back to Kathmandu, and then we clean each and every one of them very, very carefully because we don't want any dirt. After that process, we dry it up. We then shred it into the shredding machine, and after it is shredded, it is kept into the injection machine and heated up. After the highest passes of this region, because we also wanted to promote the area of this region. We just don't want people to get the perspective that they do come here for the Everest Base Camp, but there are still so beautiful places here they need to explore. Right. So that's why we also named after certain places of this region.
They have the processing plant in Kathmandu. It was a little pricey to bring all the equipment and everything up here, but it gave a lot of people jobs in Kathmandu. So they have this wonderful interactive museum. Chris is actually doing a climb to Everest in 3 minutes. So it says depositing waste in pits and burning it is currently the only way the locals have to dispose of waste in the Khumbu region. Obviously, it has negative environmental consequences such as air, soil, and water pollution. This is why they created Sagarmatha Next, so they're embarking on a mission to support and help change this practice and instead do proper waste collection, segregation in order to be able to recycle the waste materials. And on our trek down, they have a whole program where you can carry waste out. So they're trying to get everybody to carry 1 kilogram of waste down the mountain to help support their program. And if everybody did this, it would just make the waste collection so much more efficient and sustainable. Single-use plastics have been banned on Everest since 2020, but the caveat is that it only applies to anything under 30 microns thick, which is 0.0012 inches or 0.03 millimeters. The rule intended to cover plastic bags, wrappers, and drink bottles except for water. As for my experience in spring of 2023, I saw plastic soda bottles throughout the entire hike. They did get more expensive as we got higher, but clearly this ban doesn't seem to be doing much. With that being said, let's go over some tips to make your hike to EBC more sustainable. Bring water purification tablets to cut down on plastic. You could also opt for something like a life straw or a filtered water bottle. Just try not to buy bottled water. This is one of the most significant contributors to the problem of waste. We used the tablets for most of the whole trek, and it was so easy. Our family just purchased some online, and our guide also provided us with some as well. Honestly, just try to avoid anything in plastic as best as possible. You want to choose local drinks like tea versus more imported goods. These require more labor getting up the mountain. Now, you want to also avoid canned food and meat along the trek. Not only is this more resource intensive, but it also isn't the safest, as it likely has not been refrigerated. Your best option is to eat what the locals eat, and usually that's dal bhat. It's a traditional Nepalese dish made with lentils, and it's delicious. Look for a trekking company that is locally owned and operated. This keeps the money in country, which is important for the local economy, and it helps support local guides and porters. You want to make sure that they have insurance, proper clothing, accommodations, food, and pay. These are very skilled human beings, and they deserve to be treated as such. Something I learned in my research is that Nepali insurance companies actually have dedicated policies for trekking industry workers. So therefore, you want to make sure that they are paid fairly and have insurance themselves. Avoid crowds by traveling in the shoulder season. The peak months are April and October. Please follow leave no trace principles. You want to pick up trash you see along the hike. Use the designated bins that the SPCC put out, but if you can carry your trash, even better. Take the road less traveled. The flight to Lukla takes less than 30 minutes, but it is possible to trek up to Lukla following a week-long trail. It used to be the main approach for mountaineers. You start at Shavalia near Jiri, which is accessible by bus from Kathmandu. Now, this is something I learned about after we completed the trek, and given we had more time, I think it would have been a more authentic experience, albeit the 11 days we spent was long enough for me. Seek out lodges that use solar. A growing number of lodges are using it, so ask your trekking company to include those that do if they are able. Pack the right gear and buy used or from ethical companies when possible. I know this can be challenging. Even I needed to buy more gear, and even though the products sold on the streets say name brands like Patagonia or North Face, they definitely are not. Knockoffs are also a problem in itself, especially when it comes to fairly paid workers. Just try your best. Now, side note, I did buy a sweater from the Sherpa brand store in Namche Bazaar, and it is the most high quality, coziest thing. I wore it almost every day. So I looked into this brand and love that it originated in Nepal, and they donate a portion of profits to local schools. So it really can be worth investing in long-lasting, sustainable pieces. Renting or borrowing from someone else is also a great option if you aren't going to use your gear again. You want to make sure your personal care products are biodegradable. This is for hand washing, or if you end up showering, which is kind of rare along the trek, make sure you use a biodegradable soap. This basically means that it can be broken down by bacteria in the wastewater within 6 months, rather than remaining in the soil. Check the labels and avoid anything with chiclosan or phosphates. The same goes for your sunscreen and toothpaste. Stay on the trail. Ecosystems are fragile, so it's really important to lessen the impact by sticking to the marked paths. Now, this isn't related to the hike, but it's something I did want to mention. During your time in Nepal, you might run into begging, which has turned into a cultural norm because visitors just want to help. Now, it is very heartbreaking to see, but the best way to make a lasting difference is to make a donation to a local charity or school, which will in turn benefit more people rather than just a couple. Some final thoughts. Sagarmatha Next was an awesome stop along the trek, and it made me kind of feel like someone is paying attention to what is going on in the region. I felt like I could have truly spent a lot more time there to appreciate everything that they had, the art, and just to talk with the people that work there. And they also had a wonderful cafe you can relax and just chill out. The one souvenir I bought was a turquoise keychain of one of the mountain ranges in the Khumbu Valley made with the plastic bottle caps. Purchasing something like this shows support in their efforts to put sustainability at the forefront. My hopes are that the ideas put forth at Sagarmatha Next will continue to grow and inspire others while providing more jobs for the communities of Nepal. If you do want to learn more about the center and their ongoing projects, head to sagarmathanext.com. Now, is this enough to solve all of the over-tourism problems at Everest? I really don't think so. Protecting this beautiful region needs a multifaceted solution with multiple groups and government working together. But I do believe it's a huge step in the right direction. There are future development plans for Annapurna Next and Kathmandu Next, which will definitely bring more awareness to the issues and help visitors in finding solutions. I was pretty bummed that the Carry Me Back initiative was closed when we were hiking down. I think it was because we were there too early on in the season, or perhaps it was too early on in the day and they just didn't have anyone to manage the stand where you actually grab your trash to take down the mountain. Now, personally, I didn't see any of the landfills and piles of trash that we tend to see on social media, but it doesn't mean that it's not there. To be honest, this region is so susceptible to over-tourism, I recommend choosing a different trek to do altogether. I know not everyone's gonna like that answer, but it's kind of how I feel after researching this topic. Now, you can still support Nepali tourism and see the incredible Himalayas without needing to specifically hike Everest Base Camp. But if you do, I hope that these tips helped you regardless of where you hike. If you want to learn about the effects of actually climbing Everest, YouTuber Chase Mountains covers the perils of the 2023 season and something everyone should learn about and be aware of. I will put a link to his video below. And if you haven't seen it already, you can watch my experience of hiking to Everest Base Camp with my family up here and linked in the description too. The more we can learn about how to travel sustainably, the better an impact we can have for the beautiful people and places on Earth. Awareness is the first step to creating change. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.